TG Geeks, episode 408, December 12th, 2022. What does too rough mean? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, it's getting cooler, Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from... winter is here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Just about, exactly. Well, let's just get on with this show.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the Two Gay Geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are going to talk to Sean Lionadh, who is the director of a film out of Scotland called Too Rough. And that is means hungover,
basically,
really bad.
Yeah.
in the lingo, we have our birthday shout outs. He's going to he's going to tell us about that film and how he got into making that film. Then we'll have our birthday shout outs, our featured podcast of the week, and we got some feedback and some regular shout outs. In the second segment, we have a couple of things we'll talk about, and then our wacky weekly recap, as well as our end of show shout out. So let's move right along. At this time, we welcome to our show...
all the way across the pond.
All the way across the pond. Sean Lionadh. He is a poet, writer, director, filmmaker.
Actor,
jack of all trades.
Renaissance man.
And he's come to our show from Glasgow, Scotland, to talk about his new film. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The jury's still out on whether I'm an actor or not, to be honest.
Well, we're all actors in some way or another. You know?
Hey, you've got the credit on IMDb.
Exactly. That
Don't
means you're an actor.
fight it. It's there.
Yeah. We have a producer credit on one thing on IMDb just because we showed up.
We showed up, and I think we gave them money.
Yeah.
So we became producers.
Well, that's what producers do best. They show up and they give you money.
Exactly.
Oh, I guess we did our job properly then.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, let me know if you have any more money, let me know.
Well, look. I guess
we'll look.
Check behind the sofa, under the cushions.
Under the cushions. Maybe
check the car seat.
Maybe the cats push some money under there somewhere. You never know.
I'm sure we can find some loose change somewhere.
Exactly.
Right. You don't even have to show up. You don't have to do that part. You just do the money part.
Yeah. All right. So, Sean, tell us, can you give us just a little bio of who you are and how did you kind of get into filmmaking? Obviously, it's probably through poetry and writing, etc. But just kind of give us a little elevator speech of your life to this point.
Okay, who am I? Well, right now I'm recovering from some awful mutation, it feels like, so I don't even know who I am right now. I've got some cold from London that's transformed me completely. But I'm recovering and I'm starting to remember who I am, and that is, I'm Sean, I think, and I guess I don't really know the moment that really sparked my passion in filmmaking, but it was very much the frustration at not understanding how it was done that made me want to do it. It seemed like magic, and I just I hate not understanding how things are done, and I hate not knowing, and I hate when I feel like secrets are being kept from me, so I have to dig until I know how it's done, and then once I started digging, I just, I guess, stayed in the hole of filmmaking.
That's very interesting.
So you didn't
That's
get bored once you figured it out. It's like, okay, what's the next mystery to go on to?
Yeah.
You decide to stick with it.
How do we make a
Well,
rocket to the
there's
moon?
always more. Well, sure, but I think with storytelling, every new story is a new mystery, so you're always digging into something new.
Yeah, that's an interesting
and no,
point.
it's never got boring to me. No.
Well, that's interesting. That way, it keeps it all fresh. If you have a new story or somebody presents you a new story, then how do you film that? What do you do? Is there, any special lighting or props or whatever that you need for that type of filmmaking? So that's fascinating. I suppose that growing up, you watched a lot of films, and that kind of spurred you into saying, how are these made, or what is the process?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I just got shown a bunch of Hollywood action movies, and a lot of movies that I was told were good, and I never really understood, to be honest, the zealous passion that my dad had for Die Hard. Nothing against Die Hard, but it was only when I discovered female protagonists that I was like, oh, okay, this is very interesting, and which I guess is a common queer thing. But when I started discovering more female-fronted and female-led stories, that's when I became kind of mind-blown, because I thought that was so much more, the characters were so much more vulnerable and had a lot more emotional stakes going on, and that's what really brought me into storytelling.
Well, that's fascinating. How I think it's great that you were attracted to the idea of the well-rounded character, as opposed to the two-dimensional cardboard cutout archetype.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I don't understand why everyone's not like that. I think we are, really, but sometimes we just want to, watch things blow up.
Yeah,
Well,
occasionally,
it can serve as a nice form of escapism. You going about your daily life,
and all of a sudden a car blows up next to
well,
you.
yeah, sure. No, but it's nice to be able to go into a movie and maybe have something where you can, as I like to say, check your brain at the door and not really have to think about it. But at the same time, there's a lot to be said, as you've pointed out, about seeing a film that has some very well-rounded characters in it. And you're right that lately we're beginning to see a lot more magnificent films with very well-rounded female leads.
Exactly.
Which is nice to see, because I think that's balancing out the movie industry in a very nice way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So how long have you been writing and writing poetry? And then obviously it says writer. Were you writing short stories or just poetry? And then
I wrote everything. I mean, when my mum was always a crime novel fan, so I think when I was 4, I would see all of these crime books on her bookcase, and we had one of those old computers, the big block white ones, and I just started writing, probably absolute gibberish, but I just started writing crime books, really young, I don't know, 4 or 5, and I mean, obviously it would have been drivel, but my mum was always so encouraging and really praised me, and that meant the world to me, and I just kept going, and that's why I just think it's so important to praise anyone that is exploring a passion.
exactly.
It really makes all the difference.
Yes, it does.
Certainly does.
We speak from experience.
We both know what it's like to not
to be on the receiving end of the negative.
Yeah,
We've both been there, so yeah, we and we appreciate that.
But we lived in a different generation
Yes, we
as
did.
well. So,
So it's good to hear you say the importance of the positive praise and reinforcement.
that's wonderful. That
I mean, it's the only thing I'm really certain of in my whole life is like my writing, and like I honestly am doubt-ridden and about almost everything in my life. Apart from that, I just have no. I don't know. It's just like a completely safe space.
Interesting. Cool. So tell us about this film. You've done a couple of other films before, but what makes this film different? And tell us about this film, Too Rough.
Well, everything I made before, I worked at BBC Scotland, so I worked for the digital department, and I was making a lot of. They were short films, but they were a different kind of creature, I suppose, and I would adapt my poems and sort of turn the poems into like fast-paced social media content. Sorry, I hate that expression. I can't believe I even used it, but they were films, and my film Time for Love, which came out in 2018, was my first experience of a viral moment. Can't believe I said that either. But that really opened a lot of doors for me because it got like 60 million views, and it was me delivering a poem, and it really, I mean, it was crazy. I think I was 21, and like suddenly people were complaining about the film, trying to get it taken down, and other people were loving it, and that was incredible for me. But it wasn't really cinema, so it didn't really gain me any sort of film festival capital. So I really wanted to just sort of slow down and make more cinematic short films, and Too Rough was the first real chance I had at that.
Cool.
And I loved it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, tell us what is the film about for those that have not, seen the press. And we have a lot of people that don't read the article that this podcast is attached to, so they're not going to get the benefit of the little blurb. So tell us what the film is about, so that they can have an idea.
Sure, it's about a gay couple who are trapped in a bedroom, and they're very hungover, and they can't leave because on the other side of the door is a Scottish alcoholic family, and Nick, who's the main character, is trying to hide his boyfriend from this family. But I think more interestingly, he's also trying to hide his family from his boyfriend. So it's about that shame you have, that your background or some part of you is fundamentally unlovable or can't be shown to the person you love, and lots of sort of chaos and tension arises from this little situation.
Interesting.
That's a very heavy subject, and one that has a lot of relevance, I would think. I mean, obviously the specifics are kind of, unique. You've got this couple that, as I read the biography or the synopsis in IMDb, it says after a night of intoxication. So they're pretty drunk, hence the title. But the idea of the homophobia is a very relevant one. What made you decide to pick on that as the subject matter?
Well, I did have to sneak a boyfriend out once in the exact same way in this film, and it was a very, very stressful situation, but also had moments of sort of absurdism and comedy.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the most interesting part about the story. The most interesting part was him hiding his family and the internalized homophobia, because I'm much more interested in the way that our experiences of homophobia end up sort of festering inside of us and dictating a lot of our behaviours. I mean, even still in my life, it's kind of relentless, and I'm still figuring out how the hell to survive it, you know. So that's really what I was excited to explore.
Oh, you're young. You've got years.
Yeah. Well, but that's still, it is a constant battle for that.
Yeah.
I was talking to my sister the other day, and we were talking about, Christmas and the holidays and how I used to hate the holidays and all of this kind of stuff. But you can liken what I'm going to say to that homophobia that lives within us. I used to have the whole luggage set. I mean, from the big thing to the cosmetic bag to, and now I've finally gotten it down to a coin purse that rears its ugly head occasionally. So I've discarded a lot of that stuff over the years, but it's constantly there, and it's constantly reminding us, that maybe are we really good enough? Are we good enough to be a part of society? Are we good enough to love? Are we good enough to be loved?
Are we just simply good enough as people?
Exactly. Period.
And I love that you're approaching this from a more psychological standpoint, because you're right. This is a subject matter that could easily be turned into a comedy. I mean, there are a whole bunch of indie films and studio and some studio movies that touch on that subject, and they treat it in a very lighthearted manner. And to see you come along and to actually analyze more of the psychological and emotional components that make this up, I think is very much worthy of study.
Yeah. I also think that there's a little bit of comic relief in this film, just as I scrubbed through it, and especially when apparently the brother comes in.
Spoilers!
Whoops.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting because in Scotland and in the UK, the jokes have really landed quite well. But I went to see the film at South by Southwest, which was amazing, by the way.
Oh my gosh!
But no one laughed.
Really?
And I was curious, so I asked a few people afterwards, like, "Oh, did you not find it funny?" And they were like, "Yes, but I didn't feel like I was allowed to laugh." I don't know if it's maybe just a case of, I don't know, my kind of sense of humour is, I like black comedy. And I think Scotland uses humour, balances it often with kind of more brutal elements. So I think maybe we're more used to that, but I'm not sure. Maybe you could speak for the other side of the pond.
Yeah, Americans, we tend to kind of direct towards the more obvious, I dare say almost slapstick type of humor.
Although we're
out of step with the rest of everybody.
We're Anglophiles, and
Total.
I mean, so many different British programming that we have watched over, God, the 26 years we've been together and before. So
I mean, I'll use this as an example, and I'll do this quick. Monty Python, the Holy Grail movie is huge in America, not huge over in the UK. People in the UK, they love The Life of Brian. It didn't do well here in the United States. It's all about what our cultural sensitivities are when it comes to humor. Now, Keith is right. I mean, we're not in step with most other people. So I'm very interested to see the movie myself. But I think that's fascinating that at South by Southwest, some of the people felt like they didn't have permission to laugh.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I mean, that kind of speaks as to where maybe Americans are culturally when it comes to humor.
Yeah, well, I'll leave that to you. Maybe another expert you can bring on the podcast to talk about cultural American humor. I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to say.
So,
but the audience were incredible, and it was one of the best weeks of my life. So it in no way impacted my enjoyment.
Yeah, so you got to experience our end of the universe then, because Austin is not that far from Phoenix. It's a good drive. I've done it before, but it.
How many hours?
Oh well, from San Antonio to El Paso was about 11, and
Yuck.
Then another 10 to here, so it's about 20 hours.
Oh, 2-day drive.
Yeah.
Great. Wait, is that in the same state?
No,
we're in Arizona.
No, we're in Arizona,
Okay.
but San Antonio, which is just about 30 miles from Austin, is in the same state with El Paso, and that's in Texas. So,
which is a huge state.
Yeah, it's a huge state, and then
Wow.
you have to come up through New Mexico and then across Arizona to get. We live in Phoenix, so where it was hotter than hell until a month ago.
Anyway,
It's the desert.
anyway.
So, as I understand, this film has been winning lots and lots and lots of awards and has qualified for Oscar contention for
Has
short
it?
films on 2 separate occasions. Tell us about that.
True, yeah. Well, we just won the BAFTA Scotland award and Best British Short Film at the British Independent Film Awards, which was mental. I wasn't expecting that one because it was like all of the shorts in Britain competing.
Wow.
It really meant a lot to me.
You have an award-winning film.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You are an award-winning filmmaker.
Yes.
That's
That's
a nice
nothing.
feather in your cap.
That is nothing to sneer at. That's very respectable.
Thank you. Well, I've learned trophies don't make you happy,
Well, that's true.
but
They can only fill the gaps occasionally.
they do. They fill the gaps. That can be quite painful, though.
Yeah, they
Sorry, that
stroke
wasn't
your
a fan of
ego.
the joke, probably more.
Yeah.
But yeah, the film's reception has been insane, and yeah, we're in the middle of our Oscar campaign. I don't even know what terms I'm allowed to use. I should have a PR person at all times on my side, but yeah, it's very exciting.
That is really that's very
Well,
fascinating.
we'll be keeping our eyes open
No
to see if
kidding.
it actually gets an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Because if it does, we're watching.
And as soon as we hang up here, we're gonna watch the film. So, and I apologize, we have not done that. But this has been really.
This has been a fascinating conversation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're up against the time. So I would just ask this. If people want to learn more about you, is there a website or a social media presence of any sort that they can check you out at?
Yes, there is. SeanLionadh.com is my website, and my Instagram is lion.adh.
Okay. And do you have Twitter or Facebook or any of those other TikTok or?
I don't have Twitter, otherwise I'd probably be more insane than I am, but I've got Facebook, which is just my name.
Okay.
On Facebook.
Yeah. We don't have TikTok because our butts don't move that way.
We don't dance that way.
You know, I was watching Louis Theroux interview Judi Dench today, and it was such an amazing interview until they made her do a TikTok dance, and I just realised how much TikTok robs any sort of classy individual of all. Even Judi Dench, TikTok will steal their class when they have to do these stupid little dances. Honestly, I can't do with it.
Oh my.
So basically, TikTok robs you of your dignity.
Exactly.
It does. Even the most dignified woman on the planet is susceptible to loss of all class
Oh my God.
when she does. No one's safe. I think it should.
Wow.
I think we should. Anyway, that's just my little tirade.
Yeah. I love Judi Dench.
I do too.
She is incredible. Well, this has been really incredible, Sean. Thank you so much for being on our show.
No, thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Hi, I'm Patricia Chica, director, producer, and here you are listening to my favorite podcast, The Two Gay Geeks. Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of a little bit of a self-serving thing, because Patricia is representing, or Cheek Art PR is representing Sean for this film, and she's really done a good job, and two BAFTAs or two Oscar considerations and a BAFTA. That's amazing. Anyway, here are a few selected birthdays for December 12th through December 18th, 2022. December 12th, Brandon Tina was an American trans man who became a victim of a hate crime when he was brutally raped and murdered at the age of 21. His murder played a crucial role in influencing hate crimes laws in the U.S. His life and death inspired films such as Boys Don't Cry and The Brandon Tina Story. And this all happened right on the heels of Matthew Shepard's murder. So it was a very dark time. And then we have Robert Lepage, a Canadian actor, playwright, film, and stage director. He is credited with founding a multidisciplinary production company called Ex Machina, where he serves as the artistic director. Regarded as a master of contemporary theater, Lepage has been honored with several prestigious awards, such as the National Arts Center Award and Governor General's Performing Arts Award. He's also the inventor and creator of the production of the Ring Cycle at the Met, using
the one that's
the
currently
machine.
there. Yeah, the machine, which apparently nobody likes.
I thought it was brilliant.
I loved it.
Yep. And then we say happy birthday to John Downey. Rest in peace, Hamish's favorite uncle. December 13th, Tony Curran, a Scottish actor best known for his work in several Marvel cinematic films such as Thor: The Dark World. He was also played important roles in popular TV series like Daredevil and Doctor Who, as well as the sci-fi series Defiance. In 2006, Tony Curran won the Best Actor Award at the British International Film Awards for playing Clyde Henderson in Red Row.
I thought his performance as Van Gogh in Doctor Who was just heartbreakingly beautiful.
And he's from Glasgow as well.
Yep.
So, Johann von Lamont is best known for discovering the Earth's magnetic field, discovering that the Earth's magnetic field fluctuates within a 10-year period, a period of around 10 years. God, can I start that over again? His contributions toward astronomy is not limited to that, however. Known to catalog more than 34,000 stars.
Oh, but who's counting?
Exactly. He also determined the mass of Uranus, orbits of Saturn's satellites Enceladus and Tethys, and periods of Uranus satellites Ariel and Titan. All of this in the mid-1800s.
Wow.
Amazing. And then we have a friend of ours, Greg Winslow.
Oh, happy birthday, Greg.
Birthday. December 14th, Frances Bavier was an American actress best known for playing Aunt Bee in the television series Andy Griffith Show and its spinoff Mayberry RFD, winning an Emmy Award for her performance in 1967. She also had a small part in The Day the Earth Stood Still. She was one of the people at the boarding house.
Right.
And playing bridge and asking for coffee and all of that.
And very suspicious of who Klaatu really was.
Yes. Bavier chose not to marry and led a quiet life after her retirement. She promoted Easter Seal societies and Christmas and often wrote letters to fans. Dee Wallace, American actress. She is perhaps best known for her role as Mary Taylor, the mother, in the 1982 blockbuster film
E.T.
E.T. The Extraterrestrial. She's also known for starring roles in several horror films, including The Hills Have Eyes, The Howling Cujo, and Critters. December 15th, Gustave Eiffel, the man behind the jewel that adorns Paris, the Eiffel Tower. French civil engineer Gustave Eiffel later earned the nickname the Magician of Iron. He revolutionized bridge building by using compressed air caissons, designed the Statue of Liberty, and built the first aerodynamic laboratory. He died while listening to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Wow.
Interesting. Henri Becquerel, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist. He was known for his chance discovery of spontaneous radioactivity. Born into a family of scientists, Becquerel had been an engineer and physics professor earlier. Marie Curie, who shared the Nobel with him, and her husband Pierre was one of his doctoral students. And then we have friend of ours, Brian Dorn. Happy birthday, Brian. December 16th, Philip K. Dick, an American writer who was known for his works that explore varied social and philosophical themes. Dick's novels have inspired films like Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, The Adjustment Bureau. In 2005, his novel Ubik, or however you want to say it, was included in Time magazine's list of 100 greatest novels published in English since 1923. Imagine that.
No kidding.
Arthur C. Clarke.
I know. Same day as Philip K. Dick.
Best known for his short story The Sentinel, which became the basis of the screenplay of Stanley Kubrick's science fiction movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. Clarke spent the final years of his life in Sri Lanka and hosted shows such as Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. Why didn't they call it The Sentinel instead of Hal?
I have no answer for that.
The Sentinel.
Well, Sentinel was the monolith.
Yes. Well, that's true. December 17th. Imagine this, Ludwig van Beethoven.
I know.
German composer and pianist. Beethoven remains one of the most admired composers in history of Western music, even 2 centuries after his death. Born into a musical family, he was initially tutored by his father. He found success early as a pianist and went on to become an admired composer despite suffering from a hearing impairment. Eugene Levy, mainly known for his comic roles. Canadian actor Eugene Levy has had a career spanning over 6 decades with Splash, Father of the Bride, Waiting for Guffman, American Pie, and American Pie 2 being some of his memorable films. He's also acted in television and found success with the hit series Schitt's Creek, who he wrote and directed with his gay son.
His gay son, yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then we have Carrie Lioll.
Oh, my old guitar partner back in junior high school days.
Back in the day. December 18th, J.J. Thomson was a British physicist credited with the discovery of the electron, the first subatomic particle to be discovered. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1906 for his work on the conduction of electricity in gases. In 1884, he was appointed Cavendish Professor of Physics at the University of Cambridge. And then we have Jacques Pepin, French chef, author, culinary educator, television personality, and artist. After having been the personal chef of French President Charles de Gaulle, he moved to the U.S. in 1959, and after working in New York's top French restaurants, refused the same job with President John F. Kennedy in the White House, and instead took a culinary development job with Howard Johnson's. Interesting. During his career, he served in numerous prestigious restaurants, first in Paris and then in America. He has appeared on American television and written for the New York Times Food and Wine and other publications. He has authored over 30 cookbooks, some of which have become bestsellers. Pepin was a longtime friend of American chef Julia Child, and their 1999 PBS series Julia and Jacques Cooking at Home won a Daytime Emmy. He holds a BA and an MA from the Columbia University in French Literature.
Oh, no kidding.
He has been honored with, can you believe this? 24 James Beard Foundation
It's
Awards.
enough to get one. Okay, so he's an overachiever.
5 honorary doctoral degrees, the American Public Television's Lifetime Achievement Award, the Emmy Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2019, and the Légion d'honneur. However you honor?
Légion d'honneur.
Honor? French's highest order of merit in 2004. Then we have friend of ours, Rhonda Dela Cruz, and my cousin Kelly Pitts. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And it's time for our feedback. These
Holy
are comments.
moly, the feedback goes on for 4 pages.
No, it doesn't. It's only one page. And these are comments that we received in response to articles and episodes that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com and elsewhere. And we will have the links for each of these articles and episodes in our show notes for this episode article that you can find at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding TG Geeks episode number 401, we got this from our good friend Arkle. He left this on our YouTube channel, saying
a while ago.
I know. Well, it got in the queue. All this talk about Tom Bombadil and Glorfindel, as if we don't know who the real best character from the books not included in the Lord of the Rings movies was. Oh, sure, there was a character in the movie named Farmer Maggot, but that sniveling coward sold out Frodo in seconds. Now, it was never stated that was Farmer Maggot. So we might be judging.
It might have been.
It might have been. We're not sure. Anyway,
a Farmer Maggot-like character.
Yeah, it could have been. Anyway, I mean, we do see Farmer Maggot in the movie, but it's just we're seeing him wave his scythe in the air. That's it. Anyway, going on. The real Farmer Maggot, the one from the books, stood up to a Nazgul and told it basically to F the F off, and armed with nothing but a scythe and a few dogs. So there. Well, I'm not going to argue on that point. And then also we got a comment from, and this is the handle on YouTube, JS357S. I think I know who this is. I think this is John Smith, who follows us on Twitter, but I could be wrong. Anyway, it was, I believe it was Henry Winkler's birthday, and we kind of gave him a shout out. And he says, I agree that Henry Winkler is underrated. When he was chilling in Law and Order, I think he meant to say that he was very chilling in Law and Order. Moving on, regarding...
Your crystal ball was telling you?
I just copied it the way it was written. Anyway, moving on, regarding Fanbase Press announces LGBTQ plus young adult romance graphic novel, 4-Color Heroes, with Te Reo Maori translation. We got a comment from Barbara Dillon from Fanbase Press saying, thank you so much for your support. Comment from Fanbase Press on Twitter saying, thank you to TG Squared Studios, Ben and Keith, for sharing Fanbase Press announcement of the LGBTQ plus YA romance graphic novel 4-Color Heroes by Richard Fairgray, releasing in summer of 2023. And we got a comment from 4-Color Heroes on Facebook saying, Thank you to TG Squared Studios for sharing Fanbase Press's announcement of the LGBTQ plus YA romance graphic novel Four Color Heroes by Richard Fairgray. Our pleasure. Moving on, regarding Jeannie Koch's review of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Got a comment from Hamish Downey saying, I need to watch this
Oh my
film.
gosh, you haven't watched it? Oh my gosh, you have to watch it.
Watch it. Well,
It's
Jeannie,
a fabulous film.
Jeannie comes back with, you do. You'll love it. I promise. And then we've got a comment from David Day Mulkey, who says, a review. I'll watch this. And then he followed it up later by saying, good review. And we close it off regarding A Tricky Treat, a short film by Patricia Chica. And we got a comment from Patricia saying, oh, that's so nice that you're sharing it. Thank you. And that is our feedback.
A Tricky Treat and Serpent's Lullaby.
Oh, a Serpent's Lullaby I adore.
Serpent's Lullaby, Patricia just shared on Facebook the other day.
I think that one is
two,
probably my favorite.
Yeah, that is Serpent's Lullaby is my favorite short film she's
because
done.
I love the way it's shot.
A Tricky Treat is pretty incredible itself. It's
very
fun.
It's twisted.
It's very fun. You can leave comments on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, where you have a plethora of things that you can comment on, assuming you read them all. And you could receive a shout out on a future episode. We also have a listener feedback line. We want to hear from you. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that. You can call and leave the voicemail, and we'll play that on air. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to Comcast NBC Universal for that promo. Well, as everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others. We want you to support them also. Please look them up. Look up their Etsy pages, their Facebook pages, their web pages, their Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Mastodon, wherever you can find them. And please support them. Chat them up. Chat other people up about their stuff. Buy their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. And this time we want to give a special shout out to Brian Weber, a.k.a. Arkle. Brian has been a supporter and listener of ours from day one of our show and has been a regular commenter on our episodes. He's also been very busy himself with his many YouTube projects and his Twitter presence and and as well as many other places. He is the activist, I'm telling you. And
I never heard it put better.
And supporter of letting people be their authentic selves. Thank you, Brian, for always standing up to injustice in the world. And I want to give a special get well shout out to him right now. He's not doing so well.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Let's move on now. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, I just want to say, as promised, as we promised Sean, that we would watch his short right after we hung up.
And we did.
We did. And oh my God, the more I think about it, the more it has touched me in so many different ways. I mean, it's affected my life in so many different ways, and it has many layers to that film. There's several really touching scenes between the two, and then there's all of the madness that, of the family, and it really is a great film.
I was highly impressed.
Yeah.
By
the honesty of it.
Well, it was. I hate to use the word visceral, but that's the word that comes to mind. And it's not just the story. I mean, everything about this short film, and it's only 16 minutes and like 28 seconds long. I was deeply affected by the story, the message, the acting.
Yes.
Oh, the acting was just riveting.
Wow.
I mean, these are young people, and they were amazing.
The kid that plays Nick was
fantastic.
Was believable. Every one of his emotions was believable.
I felt like I was a fly on the wall watching something that maybe I should not be watching.
Yeah.
Because it felt far too personal and intimate, even.
Yeah.
In terms of the horror that this poor kid goes through in his home.
Oh, trust me, this hit way too close to home, and just some of the madness, and it really affected me.
Yeah,
and I
you
enjoyed.
You couldn't talk for a while afterwards.
Yeah, it was So
it's a fantastic film, and I really appreciate Sean for writing and directing it.
Absolutely,
it
deserves.
Oh, it deserves
everything
the accolades
that it gets,
it's getting,
every accolade that it gets.
And
absolutely.
I'm crossing my fingers that Oscar takes a look at this and decides to nominate it.
Exactly.
For
I think
it
film. Would be, and I not only the nomination, but if it would win, it would be I won't say a vindication for the LGBTQ community, but it would certainly
be an
affirmation to the community of what people go through.
Well, it's not just the LGBTQ community, but also just anybody who lives in a family where there is domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Because the movie speaks to that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Sean, for making that film.
And it's time for our weekly review. These are items that we ran on our website this past week at tggeeks.com, and the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode, article number 408, that you can find at tggeeks.com, starting with Sunday, December 4th, Nerdy Chupacabras number 129. On Monday the 5th, TG Geeks episode number 407. On Tuesday the 6th, Winter Horror Fest presents A Fright Before Christmas to benefit Mulligan's Manor. I'm really looking forward to that con. I'm really looking forward to it.
It is a worthy cause. Please go to the article. Please check it out. Please donate to help these kids have the best damn Christmas they've ever had.
They deserve it. Moving on. Wednesday the 7th, Ben's book breakdown. Sharon is a cinematic thriller, and this is the latest novel to come from Gail Martin, and I loved the book. On Tuesday the 8th, Andrea's Angle, spoiler alert, real love story, and that's the story of Michael Osiello and his husband Kit, who passed away from cancer. On Friday the 9th, Hamish Downey's News Sushi number 136, morsels of news from Japan and beyond, and we close it off on Saturday the 10th with a very humorous article. Jeannie Koch warns us about Phoenix holiday decorations.
Yes.
You need to see it to believe it.
Palm trees and
Christmas lights. Never a good combination.
Never a good, with too many Christmas lights.
Too many Christmas lights,
Let's put it that way.
Never a good idea. And that is what we ran on our website this past week. We have some shout-outs that we need to make. First to Brian Weber, our good friend Arkle we were talking about a little bit earlier. He is on Twitter as Geek of All Trades, and geek is spelled the letter G, the number 3, the number 3, the letter K of all trades, referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. We mention him because, well, he also has his Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, which does republish some of our content from time to time. So to find the Post-Dispatch News, find Arkle on Twitter, and that is Geek of All Trades. And while you're looking at all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Arkle Studios, for the projects that he's got going on. And he's always got a lot of things happening. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, Two Gay Geeks After Hours. Big thanks to their moderators for saying that we could share away our content there. And their address is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And that's all one word. And then to The Gay Geek for pretty much the same thing. And their address is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays for a replay. And listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page of things we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469 TG Geeks. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Live and be your authentic self, no matter what the world tells you. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.